Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Psychic Dolphin Garage. I'm one of your co-hosts, Kelton, and joining me today is...
Zach, the other co-host, chilling in the garage.
Some people say that garages have the absolute worst conditions to be recording audio in. No, we figure why not give it a shot, right? No one cares about acoustics on podcasting.
Unless you're super hipster and you really are into all of the acoustic remixes of pop songs.
Podcasting, why on earth would you care how it sounds? I like it when it sounds robotic and grainy and has that annoying humming tinny sounds in the background. Really gives it that authentic punk rock feel.
Kelton's been editing audio for 2 weeks and he already has large opinions about every aspect of audio files.
I'm riding that high right now, having strong, heartfelt opinions about things that are perfectly meaningless.
Dolphin attack.
Well, the good news is that if you're ever looking for something to do after this podcast fails to take off, you can always hop on YouTube and just have opinions about movies.
As a mediocre white man, I think that my voice specifically deserves to be heard on YouTube when it comes to pop culture movies.
May the algorithm always be in your favor.
All I'm going to do is just start posting some real baity type of articles. Like, I don't know. You know what my biggest problem with John Wick was? The fact that, of course, there was a dog in it. Absolutely. Why couldn't that character have been played by a human being? Specifically, a white man. All of this minority casting is ruining cinema.
Avatar 2. Is it going to be about global warming this time instead of just indigenous tribes being wiped out by colonialism?
And do they have to be blue? I mean, come on. Really?
Oh, they're going to show the albino one as the outcast, I bet.
No, they wouldn't do that because the albino one would be the special one. And then he would have even more power than the other ones once he harnesses his chakra energy and fucks that tree or whatever the fuck. I forget exactly what happened in Avatar.
I think that was basically what happened.
That's right. Fuck that spirit tree. Do it.
The tree was actually a massively advanced organism that surpassed all the technology that was available to humans at that time, but they blew it up in their ignorance.
Avatar 2 is going to be all about them exploring the ocean. So, you know, we get to finally see underwater sex filmed in 4K by James Cameron. If you ever wanted to know what a 70-year-old with a rock-hard erection holding a camera was capable of, we're about to find out right now.
What the Titanic couldn't bring you, we will.
The guy literally went down to the Titanic to just explore around. That's the level of fuck you money that I think we all aspire to, but you cannot ethically justify having that amount of money and doing that. If we found out what his personal politics were beyond trying to promote the next shitty Terminator sequel because he's trying to rep his brand still for some pointless reason.
Yeah, so who's the bigger bane of 14-year-olds with uncontrollable boners in movie theaters? Is it Michael Bay? Is it James Cameron? Or is it Zack Snyder?
Oh, I mean, it's definitely got to be Zack Snyder. I mean, Zack Snyder does everything in slow-mo. James Cameron gives all those 14-year-olds as dads something to look at, and Michael Bay makes everything for everyone's, like, shitty stepdad / older brother. But Zack Snyder really gets to the core of what it means to be an angsty 14-year-old and think you know better than everyone else. I mean...
I feel as blue as Dr. Manhattan looks. Wow. His penis is just as flaccid. Oh, never mind. Nope. Not flaccid.
That would be
What is this that I'm feeling? Wait, I was looking at a penis.
That would be amazing. The Watchmen regular cut in theaters, people aren't happy with. The Watchmen director's cut, everyone's like, wow, it really expands on the lore. The Watchmen unrated cut, the exact same as the director's cut. Only Dr. Manhattan is rock hard throughout the entire film. As he moves, the light emitting from it casts different shadow angles on all the characters throughout the entire movie. I truly don't understand how anyone can think that the guy who did Dawn of the Dead and 300 and Batman v Superman is going to do a good Fountainhead movie. How, as a producer, could you think that that would be a feasible project option? Because he keeps talking about it every couple months. He's like, yeah, I'm really excited for Batman v Superman. This is going to be a great movie. I'm really excited for Justice League. This is going to be a great movie. Not like that shithole movie, Batman v Superman. Man, my daughter killed herself. That really sucks. But you know what's going to be really awesome? That Ayn Rand movie that I'm totally going to make. Doing a direct to Netflix movie, but don't worry. I'm going to be making that Fountainhead movie coming up real soon.
I mean, what do we expect from Zack Snyder at this point? He's either got to remake one of his movies and it's going to be a sad, like, cry for help version of it, where it's just the same 6 things that he's done in every movie up to this point. The slow-mo shot, like, the main character says, like, something absurdly dark that doesn't come across as dark and edgy, but it's just like Ben Affleck was drunk during Batman v Superman. I mean, we know that was Justice League, but his lines in Batman v Superman, he's just like,
I don't have a pill addiction. You do, Alfred. What?
He's just like, he's constantly like side-eyeing like everywhere, like he doesn't look intimidating at all. My pitch for the movie is Bill Hader plays the architect. I mean, it's not like I put much thought into it. It's not like much thought goes into casting him. I don't feel like it's like that one SNL guy that like is probably looking for something right now.
Barry isn't giving him the big buck checks he was hoping for.
Well, I mean, he's got to cross over to like film, like movie productions. Zack Snyder is not the first choice, but he does have some big films under his belt.
Yeah, that's definitely what you can say on his IMDb page. He has some big films under his belt. Let's not look at the reviews or the stylistic direction or anything else.
I just want Bill Hader in it because if the movie is, as he says, about architecture and sex, sexualizing Bill Hader has been all that SNL does for me. So that seems like the least offensive, like, face that I could stand to watch inside of a Zack Snyder film.
If Bill Hader is the star of the Fountainhead movie, he'll then go on SNL as Stefan and do his little weekend update skit, just talking about how the Fountainhead movie has everything. Architecture, sex, slow-mo shots of architecture and sex. SNL is one of those things that has just been around for so long that's an institution that it's going to be also incredibly hard to explain how it's adapted over the years from being a variety program in the 70s to now a popular sketch comedy YouTube channel, which is basically all it is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it has musical guests, I guess, but I mean, I don't think anyone pays too much attention to those while scrolling the internet, but it's reminiscent of another time. You know,
they really are amping up their like YouTube appeal. That was why they had BTS on, because everybody would want to see BTS, and any people that follow BTS and enjoy BTS, any chance that they would get to see them, they'd be like, oh, SNL. And then there's like, you know, that 10% chance that they would stay and be like, oh, well, what is this SNL thing? Like, I came here for BTS, but I guess, you know, I'll have to stay here. I wonder if that's what Zack Snyder is doing with this. He's trying to draw you in. I'm going to make a great movie about, you know, this book, and then people are going to look up the rest of the books written by Rand, and you know what? They're going to have an epiphany.
Yep, that's totally how it works. People make a movie about it, and then people read the books on it. Yep. Especially Zack Snyder. You can trust him to direct a movie that will inspire people on an intellectual level to start reading Ayn Rand books.
I still can't find the book that 300 was based on, but I'm sure it'll be great once I find it.
It's excuse me, it's a graphic novel. Thank you very much.
Hey, those Batman books were really good too, if I do say so myself.
Just the Criterion collection of all the finest works. The Iliad, the Odyssey, the 300 graphic novel. Oh, well, that seems cool. It's equally historically applicable. I don't know about this. I don't feel comfortable with this.
Zack Snyder, like, standing underneath of the faces on Mount Rushmore, like, I stand here among the greats, as a great, speaking to you today. And everyone's like, I'm in. like, no, Zach, but like, let's hear it.
I think that the strangest thing in terms of pop culture news, stranger even than Zack Snyder directing the Fountainhead movie, is the fact that Coca-Cola has decided to bring new Coke back simply because Stranger Things season 3 is popping up. Like, new Coke failed miserably as a flavor choice, and I have no idea why they think that people are going to be like, you know what, I'm going to buy a case of this as I watch this new season on Stranger Things.
You remember that when they brought out that Coke that had like the polar bears on it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And everyone was like, "Oh, it's a different. It's like it's an updated flavor." And they were like, "No, what are you talking about?" And then later they were like, "Yeah, it was totally a new flavor. We're trying to get it, but now we'll just go back to the drawing board because y'all figured it out. Darn it!"
And also, global warming happened, so those polar bears are dead now. You hear? Dead.
Yeah, if they're trying to cash in on retro Coca-Cola, they already have like Mexican sodas in glass bottles. Those don't sell that much.
No, not at all.
Not
But,
enough. I mean,
we're gonna
they're
get
better.
we're gonna get the new Coke bottle or can with a Stranger Things promotion on it and a QR code to.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
It's gonna be the Fortnite Stranger Things skins is what
Oh
it's
yeah.
gonna be. When it comes out, this Fortnite's gonna have a release and a Stranger Things skin. You're like, get a free skin, or have a chance to win a Fortnite skin if you scan this QR code.
I just wonder what other outdated brands are going to get inspired now to try and actually see the light of day, thinking that this is actually going to be some weird nostalgia trend. You know, someone's just like, I'm going to crack open a can of Pepsi AM, start to play that ET video game on my Atari while making sure that I record the USFL game onto Betamax. Yeah, all this is perfect.
It's gonna be Crystal Pepsi and retro Lays.
What was that in the early aughts? The colored ketchup and the Cheeto lip balm.
Oh yeah, the purple ketchup.
Times.
The purple ketchup and the shoelaces that were just like rubber, and you would like pull them, and they would like hold your shoes on, but they weren't good at holding your shoes on. You couldn't actually do anything with them. They just look kind of stupid, like little antennas.
I don't know, man. I did that on a pair of wheelies, and I turned out just fine after the doctors realigned my legs because I broke them.
After the doctors realigned my spine because I had such bad walking posture, clunking around 8 pounds of shoe.
The doctor said, "Why are you walking out on this hospital bill?" And I said, "I spent $4,000 on outdated brands for a bit. It's important to me."
Yeah, the only retro product that I'd like to come back from the 80s is Coke.
Well, I mean, when people said, "Oh, I missed the Coke that was around in the '80s," I don't think they were talking about the new Coke. But that executive is feeling mighty proud of himself right now.
Yep. And you know what else they don't say? They don't say, "I wish we had the weed from the '80s because weed is better now."
That's right. Absolutely. The future is now when it comes to weed.
Exactly. All of those candidates that back marijuana.
Do you think Stranger Things is going to have some weird commentary about that? I mean, like, the dangerous effects of marijuana are far and wide. Having to record a PSA.
That little kid that's just lisping the whole time. He's like, marijuana is bad for you. We shouldn't be smoking this, guy.
Hi, folks. I'm Joe Biden, and I just want to say, as a first-term senator in the 1980s, you can trust me.
It's a de-aged Joe Biden standing on TV with like running like a dare campaign, and they're like, "Wow, we really should be careful to not do drugs." Yeah. Anyways, this alien's gonna kill us.
The most important thing that we have to figure out here, folks, is the crime bill. You can't trust minorities, is my point. I'm still working on a Biden impression, but by God, I will have one by the end of the month.
By the end of the month? It was a stretch.
Kill me. Yeah, I mean, Biden's career as a whole is just so far-escaping and goes so far back that, I mean, he has skeletons in his closet. Not everyone is like Bernie Sanders and has cool videos from the 80s that make him seem like the greatest roommate in the world.
Yeah.
If Joe Biden's doing crime bills and trying to get that passed, and Bernie Sanders is on a honeymoon, shirtless in Russia, swigging vodka and singing Solidarity Forever.
Yep.
People are like, look at these people. Is this who you really want to be president? It's like, hell yes, absolutely.
That's who I want to be as a person. Like, of course I want him to be president.
I don't want him to just be my leader. I want to be him.
Yeah.
Distill him down into an essence.
That was supposed to be Buttigieg's whole draws. He was, this really nice suburban man that was nice and progressive and suburban and also gay.
And let me tell you, folks, that if people are going to say I'm just the Democratic Donald Trump, the most important thing I would want is to have the anti-Mike Pence as my running mate. And I can't think of anything better than this gay man whose marriage to his husband I wasn't in favor of until, frankly, way too late in the game.
Yeah, even Obama was against marriage in 2008. It wasn't until 2012 that they realized that they could get all those votes, or that they didn't need the anti-gay marriage votes to win, that they could just get progressive votes to win.
Yep.
So it's been a long 7 years.
But hey, look at the progress we made. Buttigieg is doing his own town hall on Fox News, riding that Sanders wave, and he's got Trump and all the other red cap conservatives mad because Fox is being capitalistic and chasing ratings to increase their ad revenue because they want to see what happens. But they're mad because they gave him a platform to dunk on them. So, I don't understand why they would be mad.
It's a win-win for Fox viewers. Like, not only does Tucker Carlson have full access to every single second that Pete is on their property, but he can also get up and like go hide in the crowd, and he doesn't even have to leave. Like, he could run that as his episode of the week, just like him like crouching down in the crowd, like, watch this, like just like hollering like
trying to sound like a hype man.
Yeah, like trying to turn the crowd against Pete, and everyone's like around looking at him, and he's trying to like keep hiding and tell his cameraman to keep down. And
hey, yo, bring Nick Cannon out here. We're gonna do Wild and Out. He starts trying to storm the stage.
Pete's like losing his mind trying to hold it together in his town hall.
Realistically, I think we both know that Fox probably invited Buttigieg there so they could get all the angles of his face and then just make a deep fake video of him saying something like "the younger the better" or something. Just
see, he's libertarian.
Hold on. We need those third-party votes at the moment. Let's hold off on that.
Yeah, and then Sanders isn't going to get any coverage with the rest of his campaign, just like 2016.
Ah, man, that would be the best thing to actually see. So Sanders is currently on the campaign trail trying to help out with strikes and negotiating with corporations on behalf of workers across the United States. If Trump just decides to start to hold rallies in the same cities that Sanders is going to, just, amping it up like two boxers right before a heavyweight title.
Can you imagine? And then like, well, I guess there's no sports to do right now. There's only baseball games. We need some violent sports fans to also have something awesome happen.
The NBA playoffs are happening right now.
Yeah, but that's playoffs. That's not like some like cool matchups that can happen in these like disparate cities. Unless we just took the playoffs and every game had to be played in a new city, and it happened, and they were just staggered so that they all happened on the same night.
Anchorage, Alaska is there just like, hell yes, we knew our time would come.
We've never had a basketball game before in our lives. This is gonna be the best fucking basketball game.
They all laughed when we approved a $4.3 billion basketball arena made of ice. Well, look at us now.
With a stadium next door designed for large crowds to gather in like concerts or rallies.
Man, can you imagine if there was a punk band that was like, all right, everybody, check it out. We're going to be going through the West Coast. Yeah, we're talking San Diego. We're talking LA. We're talking Portland. We're talking Anchorage, Alaska. Oh, man. Why we accept that gig?
It's the same night as the Trump rally, and Bernie Sanders is also in town.
People's brains would melt if that happened. The poor
You
people of
wouldn't-
Alaska.
They would run out of food. We would literally eat them out of house and home. There would be so many. There would be cruise ships full of geriatrics. They normally go on the Alaskan cruises. They would be flocking from the California coast to Alaska.
I mean, Alaska's connection to the outside world is so strange to me because their internet is so bad that people really can't stream movies or anything out there, obviously. And so places like Blockbuster still exist for some reason over there. And I can't imagine what life must be like to be stuck in 1998 just for forever.
Little known fact, Captain Marvel was shot just in Anchorage, Alaska.
Alaska is really capitalizing in the news. Yeah, it's really fucked up what Georgia did. And all those films are not going to really be able to be filmed over there, huh? Well, guess what? Our new Alaskan film program will allow you to get all the tax credits you want as long as you film up here. Just some Kristen Wiig comedy of Southern Bells, but it's being filmed on a green screen in Anchorage, just trying to set things up.
It's a school auditorium with like 6 people in furs.
All the rejected Game of Thrones costumes they're just wearing, man.
That'd be kind of interesting because then movie stars, it'd be closer for them to go over to like Russia for a couple days while they're like over weekends while they're not shooting.
Yeah. Surprisingly, in Anchorage, Alaska, Beto O'Rourke is leading in the polls. No one knows why, but it's probably because Alaska still hasn't quite heard of Obama yet.
God damn.
They say he reminds us of that real feisty young fella, Bill Clinton.
I was going to say it's because there's so many Golden Corrals, Beto's just going around to all of them, and he just gets super hype and just jumps up on tables and screams at people.
Bernie Sanders got in trouble for taking a photo with a black guy while holding a piece of fried chicken. Beto O'Rourke got in trouble for sticking his head inside the chocolate fountain and screaming, "Please vote for me."
Everyone did make a large mistake when they put all of their budget into online advertisements. Those don't reach Alaska.
It's the one state you can woo over. Come on, Beto, you got this. And I'm sure no one listens to this podcast yet, but if anyone does, and you by chance know someone who actually lives in Anchorage, Alaska, number one, give them our apologies. But number two, please have them call in to us and tell us exactly where we went wrong, because I refuse to believe that the world I've built in my head is inaccurate in any single way, shape, or form. Yeah.
They filmed Captain Marvel there.
And, when the carrier pigeon arrives to their front door informing them of the text from our podcast, and they decide to write back to us via candlelight, then they can tell us exactly how we're fucking up.
Yeah, we don't have a P.O. box yet, but if I hear that there is a scroll stamped with a wax seal that is coming down on horseback from Anchorage to us here in the real United States, then we will have a P.O. box for it to go to. It's just where all of the gold prospectors went after the gold rush in California, and they just haven't stopped ever since. They're just sitting there with their pans and their donkeys and their like overalls.
I mean, you
could
get away with anything in Alaska. I mean, legitimately.
Murder.
Do you think if we claimed to be the most popular podcast in Alaska, anyone would doubt us for a second? Every week they ship a container full of cassette tapes with their podcasts, asking people to please listen to it.
Do you know how expensive it is to get this podcast mastered and recorded onto records? And then those records packed away carefully enough to survive the trip to Alaska.
These are people who still look at laser discs and think that this is amazing. In fact, this is exactly how they're able to release New Coke. They just found an abandoned cargo ship that had containers full of this.
It was a frigate that had been in the port of Anchorage for 30 years.
They're like, oh, what? Yeah, no, this is why. Yeah, Stranger Things 3. That's why we're releasing New Coke. Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. You guys are going to want to drink this sooner rather than later, though.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Gets a real tang to it, if you know what I'm saying.
It's got a slight wang on the back end, but it ain't no thing.
People are getting excited. They're like, man, I can't wait for that show Game of Thrones to finally start. And you're just like, oh, yeah, man. It's a shame that there's only 5 seasons of it. You don't want to go beyond season 5. You hear me?
Everything after season 5 was
non-existent,
a conspiracy theory.
Because it's only 5 seasons. Yeah,
there were fans that made 3 more seasons, and they were bad.
They're going to be so... HBO is just so fucked now as they try and find a show that can replace Game of Thrones in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to throw us Westworld, adding Aaron Paul. I know we talked about that last week, but they have his Dark Materials, because who the fuck doesn't want to see some Coca-Cola polar bears fight each other in the wild?
Mm-hmm.
In Alaska, huh?
Oh, yeah. His Dark Materials looks amazing.
Professional broadcasting right here, tying it all together. You thought that this was a riff we made off the cuff? No, we have intricate notes, fully scripted, all about Alaska this whole time. That's how we wanted to spin this podcast episode.
You have notes? I have a napkin with some stains on it, and I stare at it for inspiration.
Listen, my notes may or may not be written in feces along the walls of my room, but don't worry about that, okay? Because the most important thing that we all consider is that, hey, maybe the spinoffs will be good on this show and get them the ratings that they're hoping for. I mean, that's what happens with spinoffs, right? They get just as big as the original. And just as beloved as the peak popularity of things? Yeah. That's what we're going with here?
Yeah, everything new is good. Especially the new Star Wars.
If the U.S. ambassador to Israel can just start flaunting his whole Dragon Kink outfit under the guise that, it's for Game of Thrones, I think I should just be feeling confident enough to talk about how I'm a fan of the Clone Wars or Teen Titans Go as vastly underrated works of fiction.
Look, we all have skeletons in our closet. Not all of us dress up in the skeletons and then wear them out in public, and then
while being attached to a chain necklace,
and then tweet about it on our official U.S. government account. We can't all have balls that big.
Mostly because ours aren't being restricted by a vice that he keeps. His ball gag mouth.
Why did he have the idea? Why do you have the idea to be led by a chain?
Because when you start with the chain, you don't lose the chain. It's like if you have an awesome pair of socks that that are customized and just for you, those are your lucky socks. You don't suddenly, once you get an outfit that matches, decide to get rid of those socks.
The whole thing is rather suspicious. He's there. Everyone found him one day. One of his friends stumbled in his room and was like, "What's this you're hiding in your closet, huh? It's a dragon outfit."
Unzips the mouth. It's not what it looks like. I'm a fan of oh, you're doing this because of Game of Thrones? Yeah, absolutely. I love Game of Thrones.
My favorite. Who do you think's gonna win? The short one.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyrion is the best, isn't he?
Oh yeah. Tyrion. Mm-hmm.
Have to call up his wife and just be like, okay, so listen, Browd walked in on me in a very compromising position, and we need to binge watch the first 6 seasons of this show and just become super fans, because we have a season finale party that we have to get ready for by the end of the week. Okay?
Oh my god, everybody shows up to the season finale party and they're super into it. And he's like, "Yeah, all right." They're like, "You have to go get your dragon outfit on." Obviously, he's like, "Yeah, okay." He goes,
"Yeah, no, I definitely do." Mm-hmm.
Crying, strapping on his cock retainer. He's already rock hard, just looking at it, rock hard in fear.
People aren't even gonna see that part of his costume. It's so strange that he would do that. But, okay.
He walks back out, like it's kind of dripping. They're like, no, you have to put the collar on too. And he's like, yeah, the collar too.
His wife, he gets the collar put on him if he deserves it. Oh, no.
Nobody seems to realize. And so they're like, he's like, all right, cool, this is awesome. They're like, we have to get a picture of you. He's like, oh no.
Nah, we really don't. It's okay. It's
Please,
fine.
it's totally fine.
7 viral photos later, just like, well, this is me. This is who I am now. I'm known as the Game of Thrones guy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're just turning into Rome.
When he gets done with his career, he'll just move to Anchorage, Alaska. It's that giant wheat farm upstate where we all go to.
Yes.
At least until climate change decides to flood Anchorage, Alaska, and their $4.3 billion igloo stadium.
Oh, it's an igloo now, huh?
Yeah, it's a giant igloo. I can't help but just simply think about it as a ridiculous state where ice and sadness gets made.
Mm-hmm.
So
the song of ice and sadness.
It's my favorite show.
Oh no. U.S. presidents don't die; they just retire to their wheat farms in Alaska because Alaska is where they store the giant arcs for when the movie 2012 becomes real life.
Absolutely. Actually, we don't know this, but the ongoing conspiracy, the conspiracy of the week, if you will, is that all of the alien arcs that will help save us and transport us to an all new planet and leap us forward by 1,000 years are hidden underneath the ice. So by enacting climate change and melting these icebergs and the ice caps, we're getting that much closer to finally being able to access these spaceships and take us away. And, if Shanghai becomes Atlantis, so be it.
The aliens froze the Earth to hide the hollow interior from us, and they know that as we industrialize it, we'll slowly begin to thaw out the Earth. And once we've completely thawed it, we'll be able to access their hidden technology on the hollow interior.
Absolutely. I mean, that is assuming, of course, climate change is real. It's not like we have a millennia's and millennia's old legends of a land that existed until the waters rose up and swallowed it and submerged it. No, we don't have something like that in our cultural lexicon whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
not one culture I can think of. None. There are no stories about that or anything. Everything is about how great plasma TVs are and why you should buy a Sony plasma TV.
And not a Huawei TV. You hear that, Shanghai? Us and our waterfront Omaha, Nebraska property are going to be so happy about the rising sea levels. You hear me?
Yeah. You thought we were stupid to not invest in industry and build industry in our major industrial areas, huh?
The Anchorage, Alaska stadium, suddenly just a button goes off and inflatable rafts rise up underneath it because ice floats in water. So it just starts to go away, moving into the ocean.
Somehow bombing Japan with our giant igloo stadium.
Listen, that would be the most American thing that possibly happens.
Yep.
But I mean, I guess that's the small price to pay. That and the fact that the rising levels and boiling water throughout the earth is making octopi go blind all around the world. So
that's horrible.
That sounds like a sci-fi novel, right? A bunch of people on a giant igloo raft get attacked by blind, angry octopuses everywhere.
The octopi will rise.
That sounds like something that we could option to Netflix.
Yeah, they already have like 3 directors that aren't doing anything. So
we can get James Cameron on board because it's underwater, and he'll be like, "Hell yeah, anything to return me back to those salty depths."
And it's a bunch of tentacles, so that's the 14-year-old angle.
Okay. Well, I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, that's what the Zoomers are into.
Yeah.
Right?
Tentacles.
And they're blind, so it feels even more impersonal somehow.
And the impersonal blindness is the perfect amount of irony for the YouTube connoisseurs of film.
Yeah, that's the right way to view it. Every angsty 14-year-old is just going to be looking at the trailer for this movie and just going, I can't take it anymore. This is amazing.
I know that 14-year-old me would like all of my movie ideas. That's how I judge my content.
No, 14-year-old me would hate all of my movie ideas. 14-year-old me will call my movie ideas soy boy cuck shit. That's what he would say. Because I was dangerously close to becoming a member of the alt-right until I hit puberty.
14-year-old me would call my movie ideas gay.
Yeah. Can you imagine 14-year-old us trying to understand politics in today's world? Looking at Pete Buttigieg, just like, I don't know, man, that guy seems a little light in the loafers. Well, him and his husband have been lovingly married for at least half a decade now. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hey, you're saying the quiet part out loud again.
14-year-olds are monsters. But I mean, if there's something that I know that 14-year-old us would probably like more than a story about angry octopi attacking Omaha, Nebraska's last stronghold of a giant igloo, because that doesn't sound like a fever dream at all. But what it does sound like is a new possible mobile game coming to you from Riot Games, since they're deciding to develop League of Legends into something you can play on your phone.
It's going to be as bad as Diablo being released by Blizzard. It's not going to be taken well by anyone. It could make them a lot of money. Riot has been owned by Tencent Games for a while.
Okay.
It's their, it's the same, it's the Disney of, well, I guess technically EA is the Disney and EA's own. But Tencent Games owns Riot Games, and they've wanted to make a mobile game for a while because they're big in China, Japan, Korea. China has a massive mobile game market. And
I swear to God, though, that this is going to be the next wave of things. Just like how Fortnite really destroyed all of our dude bro sensibilities when it came to Call of Duty, this mobile game League of Legends shit is going to just be...
Yeah, it's going to be bad. I mean, it's going to be... They're just licensing characters and items, I think. They said it'll be a cut-down version of the game. But
that's why people like League of Legends, right? Because
it's simple, and there are very few characters and hardly any skill expression inside of the game.
Yeah, you can button mash.
Yeah, we play it mindlessly with no real purpose, and we just exist to continuously stay in queue and buy more skins. Our life purpose as consumers of Riot Games content is to sit in queue, to continuously button mash while inside games and interfaces off, and to buy the new skins that come out.
All that's going to happen is that the mobile League of Legends game that's going to be coming out, it's just going to be a Mortal Kombat button matching game. And people are going to be like, man, I love League of Legends. You're going to get excited and they're going to whip their phone out. And it's going to be some shitty Mortal Kombat knockoff looking game.
I don't know if you saw the Elder Scrolls mobile game that came out, Blades.
No, I didn't.
I got in on the beta and I have it on my phone and it is atrocious. Like, it's trying to be a fighting game on a actual RPG on a phone. None of the controls feel good. It doesn't feel good to play the game. It feels like you're playing Skyrim, like trying to play it on a phone. Which, as you can imagine, like touch controls aren't great.
Yeah, the idea of any extensive world building style game just being reduced to an app right next to, that I can put on my phone right in between the Taco Bell app and the Spotify app. It really just doesn't quite seem like maybe it's doing any real justice to the initial creators of it.
Yeah, and we're moving to a place where we're moving away from owning games and playing them on our own equipment, and we're going to be streaming games soon. That's going to have a massive impact on the market, and I don't know what it means, but everybody switching to these mobile platforms really puts a kink in my booklet of kinks that I have.
The kids these days, they have no respect for the classics that came out with our childhood.
I mean, I feel that way, but at the same time, like, I don't think that you can say that a game like that is a good game. I feel pretty justified in saying that that's not a good game. That's not the way that development should go. But
what do you get a worse feeling about in the pit of your stomach? Riot Games developing a mobile League of Legends game, or the fact that the Disney remake of Aladdin is estimated to make $175 million worldwide in this debut weekend, not total. Sorry, I should clarify that.
I mean, I feel like Disney has done pretty well on all of its adaptations, and I'm kind of excited to see Lion King, so I feel much worse about Riot's mobile game.
Based on my desire to see a entirely different Disney property, I feel like this Disney property will be fine. Do you know who the director of the Aladdin movie is?
I do not.
It's Guy Ritchie. Disney saw him and he was like, yeah, let's do this.
Guy Ritchie did Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's
true. I prefer to think of him as the guy that did Sherlock Holmes, not the guy who did King Arthur.
I can't see anything wrong with a British man adapting the story of Agrabah in the Disneyfied Arab knockoff world. It seems
Now,
like it's gonna be
Aladdin was
fun.
already problematic enough when it was animated. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on how problematic it may or may not be in live action.
Take that, street rat. Whoa, 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 whoa.
I don't feel like this actor can say that. I don't think he's allowed. No, anybody? No? Huh.
It
All right.
seems awful.
Fine. I'm the asshole that's being loud in the theater. That's on me. That's on me.
I think the first red flag would have been like, oh, okay, well, we have a British director for this film, but, don't worry. We're going to have an Arab lead. We're going to have an Arab female lead. We're going to have just, a whole bunch of diversity casting. Like, oh, okay, well, that's fantastic. A minority group that oftentimes gets overlooked. And what Arab actor are you considering for Genie? Are you thinking of Cal Penn or are you Will Smith? Will Smith is who we want to play the Genie. Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
What actually happened was Will Smith wanted to be the genie, but we also want Will Smith to be the genie. So
Will Smith stretched his eyes with his fingers and said, "I will be your genie." And ooh, man, it was a very bad meeting. But he's so charismatic, So
that was bad. Everything after that, like, we're pretty sold. He also offered to fund half of the movie. So
Oh, well, okay. Leave with that. Leave with that. If he's going to be helping co-produce this film, then fantastic. It won't be our money that we lose when it flops. I mean, succeeds wildly at the box office and isn't just used for generic marketing purposes and toys later on. Yep.
We're groundbreaking special effects director and Moneybags McGillicuddy pairing up to remake one of our classic films because we're so good we don't need to come up with new content.
But I guess the thing to keep in mind is that if you want to go to the movies for some reason and you want to, unethically consume under capitalism, just don't go see Aladdin. Go see Brightburn instead, because that movie looks like it's actually something unique, or at least offering a commentary on something that isn't just generic direct to DVD levels of thought processing. Of course, if you have kids and all of that, then yeah, go see Aladdin. Fuck it, whatever. It has songs and colors and it'll probably be a lot of Bollywood inspired things.
Oof.
So you'll have a delightful time.
Oh,
but,
no.
For the other angry, lonely people out there who won't let their angsty 14-year-old selves go, just consider Brightburn. What if Superman was evil and no one could stop him because, he's a god? What if the child from The Omen had superpowers?
What if James Gunn got away from a big studio and had room and funding to make something that he didn't have oversight on, that wouldn't be, part of some bigger franchise that other people have, already have their fingers inside of? And what if
fingers inside of? Come on now. What is that? One of his shitty jokes?
Shitty, get it? Something he gets to work on himself that then inspires Disney to bring him back into the Marvel fold.
Oh, absolutely. Direct Guardians 4, 5, 6, 7. We own your soul when we rehired you. That's why your contract was written in blood.
Look, James, my boy, my friend. We took you to the underground chambers of Walt Disney. You met him. There's no going back. You
kissed the frozen head. We have you now.
We have your soul.
You'll work for us for all eternity. So I guess we know what we're all going to be doing this weekend. I mean, I will unfortunately be watching the Bucks Raptors game because it's the only playoff series basketball left to watch. So hopefully it's somewhat entertaining for me and not at all depressing to watch these gods of human beings perform feats that I could only dream of. What are you going to be up to over the weekend?
I'm going to be playing more Factorio. Probably not streaming because my desk is messy and I don't clean up my desk to stream. That's
Maybe
how that
on
works.
The next episode we can do plugs for the streaming. But in the meantime, I guess you all know basically where you can find us. Go ahead and check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/Psychic Dolphin Garage. Check us out on any of the real major streaming apps, services. I don't know. We're on SoundCloud, Spotify, PodBean, iTunes, Still working on that YouTube channel. Turns out it's a little bit harder to come up with a quality waveform visualizer that doesn't seem like some shitty 90s 9-inch nails knockoff song is about to play instead. So we'll get that going in the meantime.
I mean, have a great Memorial Day weekend. Remember on this Memorial Day weekend to burn incense in front of your effigies of Stalin, Kropotkin, Simon Bolivar, and Winston Churchill.
Absolutely. It's important. So this Memorial Day, just remember, if you don't support the troops, you're a terrorist. And if you're a terrorist, I mean, you're probably in our demo. So check out our other episodes. In the meantime, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend. Deuces.